This is Jim on the Air.
Jim on the Air.
Jim on the Air. Jim on the Air. Jim on the Air. On the Air. Jim on the Air. Jim.
On the Air.
Jim on the Air. With your host. With your host. With your host. With your host.
With your host. With your host. With your host.
Jim Sirianni. Jim Sirianni. Jim Sirianni. Jim Sirianni. Jim Sirianni. Jim Sirianni. With your tiny little host. With your host. Jim Sirianni. Jim Sirianni. Hi, it's Jim. Hi, and welcome to another edition of Jim on the Air. I'm Jim Sirianni, your host with the most, your hostess with the mostest, and I am contractually obligated to say that every single time. And I'm contractually obligated to use that joke every single time until I come up with something new. But if you believe that, I might have a bridge to sell you as well. But at any rate, welcome to the show. I'm very excited to have my guest on today. My guest for this time around is Esteban Ramirez. And Esteban lives here locally in the Santa Barbara area. And he will be presenting a concert coming up later in September. And the title of his show is Esteban Ramirez Romance Tour. And it'll be he's laughing a little bit. It'll be him and his quartet ensemble, which will combine his mastery of the acoustic grand piano, interspersed with select poetry readings to inspire the senses. And I'm going to stop talking and let him explain more about the show and what it's all about. And but before I do that, real quick, just to get the business out of the way, if you'd like to see the concert, it is coming up in September 17th at 7 p.m. It'll be at Center Stage Theater. And for tickets and info, you can call 963-0408 or area code 805-963-0408. Or you can go online and buy tickets online at centerstagetheater.org. That's Center Stage Theater, all one word, centerstagetheater.org. And theater is spelled E-R, as opposed to the R-E. At Center Stage Theater, ER.org for tickets. And welcome to Jim on the Air, Esteban. It's great to have you with us today.
Hey, Jim. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So tell us a little bit about, tell us a little bit about your background. What led you to music in the first place?
So it was a collusion of my mom and sister. I was a very hyperactive kid. So if I went shopping with my mom as a little child, I'm the kind of kid that was going to be going around playing in the clothes racks and getting completely lost. So my mom and my oldest sister colluded and say, you know what if we gave Esteban some piano lessons? Maybe it'll calm him down. Maybe it'll keep him focused. And I was fortunate enough to have a piano teacher down the block from where I lived. Her name was Mrs. Montgomery. And I started taking piano lessons. And sure enough, I took to it. Hey, lo and behold, a few decades later, I'm still playing the piano.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. I wish I had stuck to piano. My parents kind of did the same thing. I was kind of, sort of similar. And I took piano lessons, I think early on, like age 7 or so. But I didn't stick with it. I wish I had. But I'm glad you did it. And
yeah, some people really love it. And some people, they say, it's okay. I'll go on to something else. So I was one of those that just kind of stuck to it, and actually maybe the better way to say is that the music stuck to me.
Now, were you classically trained, or what kind of training did you have?
Well, I took piano lessons from the age of 10 all the way through 18, and it was classical music. It was right. The typical, the Mozart and the scales and Beethoven. And at some point when I graduated from high school, I really didn't want to study it because I had already been composing my own music. And it seemed like studying music was going to take the fun out of it for me. I just wanted to enjoy it and do my own creations, and that's kind of the extent of my training.
And so, when did you start composing? At about what age?
Literally, I think it was at the age of 11.
Okay.
So I was playing the piano, and then I came across this little melody that I created, and then I put some words to it, and it was one of those aha moments. It was like, huh, this is where radio gets its music from people like me.
Oh, it's not just a little band inside the radio that.
Right, right. You're 11 years old, right? So you don't really realize that
Yeah.
people create this music. Your exposure, at least my exposure to music was it comes out of the radio. And
Yeah.
that's the extent of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of us, I think most people, when you're growing up, it's just music is just there, and it doesn't
Right.
occur to you at a young age that, people have to put it together.
Exactly. I didn't get that. It was at that when I was 11 years old. I remember it. It was like, wow, that's interesting. So people actually write this.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, that first piece that you wrote when you were 11, so that was just a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years
Oh
ago.
yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Will
No, no,
you will you
that was
perform
quite
that?
far away.
Will you perform that piece during the concert, or do
No,
you
you
use
know
it at
what?
all?
It was a little ditty. I mean, I put words to it. I don't even remember it.
Uh,
Um, and it was just my first little uh, step into a world that I had no idea existed about composing music.
wow. Now, you have several albums now. Is that correct?
Right. I have 3 albums out in the market.
And
So one
okay,
of them is Serenade to the Moon, which is all piano solo, and that was the first one I put out. Um, then the second one is Welcome Home, which is mostly piano solo, but it has 4 tracks with piano and cello. And then the third one, which is Fly With Me, which has some piano solo, but also some ensemble pieces with clarinet, violin, and oboe.
an oboe. And now I understand you have a quartet that's playing with you. Is that correct?
Right, right. So this is really exciting. Um,
Yeah. So tell us about
so
the musicians.
so the musicians, I mean, there's a flute player, a violin player, a clarinet player, and a cello player, and of course, me playing the piano. And this is actually going to be my first, not this concert. I'm giving another concert prior to that, but my first time actually performing, touring with this ensemble. And it's all my music with just different voices, just different instrumental voices accenting. And I'm used to performing publicly with just me and a cello player, but I wanted to step it up. And this ensemble is going to be really exciting for me because um, it's live. It's a there are more instruments involved, and there's more voices, and there's more color to the melodies, and looking forward to sharing that with people.
Oh, very cool. Awesome. And I'm chatting with Esteban Ramirez. Esteban is getting ready to do a concert at Center Stage Theater, and it's called Esteban Ramirez Romance Tour. And for ticket information, you can log on to centerstagetheater.org for tickets, or you can also do tickets the old fashioned way and call the box office at 805 963 0408. That's 805 963 0408 for tickets. And the concert is September 17th at 7 p.m. again at Center Stage Theater. So Esteban, tell us a bit about your process when you're writing music. What inspires you? How does it all begin for you when you are creating a piece?
So it happens in different ways. I mean, I could see something that I'm really inspired or moved by. It could be a sunset. It could be a day in the mountains, and then this mood strikes me, and I wanted to be able to interpret that particular experience or scene instrumentally. Other times I'm literally at the piano just improvising, getting the vibes from the air. And sometimes I'll stumble onto this melody that I really like, and then I create a piece out of it. Those are probably the two ways that the music comes to me. And then sometimes I finish the piece real quick, and sometimes it takes me several weeks to kind of polish it.
Now, does some of your music, is it mostly instrumental, or do you also have lyrics or a combination of?
It's all instrumental. So it's neoclassical piano based, and then you have the ensemble that does more of the supporting voices. I used to write lyrics when I was a teenager, but
Right.
I'm a horrible lyric songwriter.
Oh,
I my mind just doesn't, or my fingers don't want to go where my mind wants to go. Um,
oh, interesting. Yeah,
but
I see that.
with instrumental music, um, there's such a 88 keys worth of range that you can
Hmm.
explore these melodies. And I think that my heart just said, this is where you really thrive creatively. And I continue to pursue this instrumental pathway.
Pathway. But I understand that some of the evening for the concert, there's some poetry that'll be read. Is it
Yes,
original?
another really exciting part that I like. So I, for whatever reason, and I don't know, I like poetry. I think going back to college time, I just would write really bad poetry back then. And I started playing the piano, right, and writing music. And there's this creative part of me that wanted to interpret my pieces through poetry. So so each piece that I play, that I record, has a poem by the same name. Now, I'm not going to read a poem for every piece at the concert. I'm just going to read maybe like 4 poems, but it's going to be accompanied by, after I read the poem, by the piece by the same name. And it's just another different creative expression. So when people listen to the poetry, it tells the story about the inspiration or the visualization of that particular piece, and then they get segued into actual performance. So they listen to the actual music, and they know poetically what went on in my mind, or what goes on in my mind when I play that piece.
Oh, okay. So the poem would be recited first, and then the piece would be played following it. Is that?
Correct.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's really cool. I mean, I like it because um, poetry, poetry touches different senses in the brain. You have your auditory, but when you say words in a poetic way, it's a whole different part of your brain that is really thinking about these images, and experiencing my creative kind of process in a different way. So anyway, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. Now, is your music available for purchase like on your website, or if folks wanted to listen to it, prior to the concert, is there a way to do that?
Yeah, you can listen to it on most major streaming services, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, and at my concerts, I sell the CDs for those people who still either buy CDs or collect them. Surprisingly, people still like to buy them.
Oh, that's
And you
good.
can take a listen. Now, interestingly, you can also go to my website, because some of the ensemble pieces, which are new arrangements, um, are on my website under the music tab, I believe. And you can actually listen to what you'll be listening to at the concert.
Okay, and we should point out that your website is descanso-music.com. and that's
Correct.
DESCANSO dash music.com. And they can purchase your music on the website.
Not on the website. You'd have to go online to download it.
Oh,
If
to either Amazon or something.
Right, right. So yeah, if you download your music and you have your playlist at home,
Mm-hmm.
that's the way you can purchase it. That, or you can add it to an existing playlist. If you actually want a hard copy CD, the only way right now to get it is by going to the concert and purchasing it after the concert.
Oh, and they'll be available after
They'll
the
be
concert.
available, yeah, at the concert, yeah.
Nice. And
And I
then,
can autograph them for you.
oh, very good, awesome. And then, uh, oh, so but now is this concert also promoting your fourth album? Is that correct?
Well, interestingly enough, Jim, I am working on my fourth album, so it's not released yet.
Oh, okay.
But some of the pieces I'm going to be playing at the concert are going to be some of the new pieces that are going to be included in the fourth album.
Oh, okay. So a combination of your previous work and then some of the new ones that'll be on the new
Right,
album.
right. So some of the classics, some of the tried and true, and some of the new ones.
Now, for somebody who might not be familiar with your music, how do you describe your music to someone who's learning about you for the first time?
Okay, so if you like classical music, right? Um, it's a little similar, but it's new. Um, I hate to describe it this way, but one term could be bubblegum classical music.
I like that bubblegum. But you mean like the
So,
classical music that people are familiar with, that like the go-to music that people are already familiar with, like
right. So you have like, let's say, for example, Vivaldi and his Four Seasons.
okay, yeah.
And there's some really great violin jams on that. But Vivaldi takes it differently. I would have taken it a much more kind of rhythmic way. And I remember when I was taking piano lessons, and I would be doing a Mozart piece, or I'd be doing a Vivaldi piece, and I so like, boy, I really would love for this piece to have done something differently. Anyway, fast forward. So I write pieces that are very classical in nature, but they have a modern spin to them. They tend to be 4 minutes ish long, sometimes five, sometimes 3.5 minutes. And I'm not tied down to just a strict kind of classical style or imitating a classical style, but going to a place where it's classical but very melody driven, and
Oh,
there's
okay.
melody that continues to be repeated throughout the pieces that I play.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if that makes sense
No,
to
that does
you,
totally
but
makes sense to
but
me.
but I like it. I like it, and I have this piece called "Wings of an Angel." And it's a very, very somber, very heartfelt piece, mostly between the piano and the cello. And it just repeats a very similar theme throughout. I had this other piece called Mexican Minuet, which is very Mozart in style, but it's very Mexican in style in that it has a lot of energy.
Oh, fun.
So anyway,
Oh,
I mean,
fun. Oh, I like the idea of that. I can kind of picture that a little bit.
it's hard to describe. It's hard to describe by music in words, any music in words, because you have to listen to it.
Yeah, you
But
really do. Yeah.
that's the best I can do, I guess.
Oh, no, that's fine. By the way, I'm chatting with Esteban Ramirez, and Esteban will be performing a concert at Center Stage Theater coming up here in September 17th at 7 p.m. at Center Stage Theater. And if you'd like to go, you can call the box office at 805-963-0408. 805-963-0408, or you can also purchase tickets online at the Center Stage website, centerstagetheater.org. Again, that's centerstagetheater.org, and theater is spelled ER. And to learn more about Esteban, you can check out his website, descanso-music.com. That's DESCANSO-music.com. And you can learn all about his music and everything you need to know about Esteban and his upcoming concert. And speaking of concerts, Esteban, I understand you have other concerts either coming up or tell us about some of your other performances that are coming up.
So I have a concert in Ventura on the September 3rd at the NAMBA Performing Arts Space. And then I have one in the works. I haven't locked it in San Diego, which will be this fall.
In the fall.
In the fall.
Later on. Okay, fabulous. And I'm sorry, where was that one again? The second one?
September 3rd in Ventura, NAMBA Performing Arts Space.
Okay, and that's on the 3rd. And then any plans for other performances later down the road, or?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, my booking agent's always looking for new venues, new places to perform at, and it's just a matter of locking those in and trying to make it work.
And can we put out your information if somebody wanted to book you for their venue? Can we put that out, or is that kind of, or am I putting you on the spot?
Absolutely. Just go to my website and there's the contact information.
Okay.
To book. So that's descanso-music.com.
Again, that's excuse me, that's descanso-music.com, and again, it's spelled DESCANSO-music.com, and you can contact your agent there and also learn more about the upcoming concerts and all the other good stuff on the website.
That's right.
So Esteban, I wanted to put you a little bit on the spot. One of the things I do during my show, and I probably should have told you this before we went on, but I didn't, is I like to ask random questions. And sometimes these are questions that kind of have to do with who you are and the field that you are interested in. And sometimes it's just random questions.
Yeah,
I hope you don't mind if I put you on the spot a little bit. And these aren't going to
hey, life's a journey, and I'm up for it.
Then, and yeah, what does Annie Main say? Life's a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death, or something like that. But the first question I want to ask, and this is kind of, you know, in your wheelhouse, if you will, which band or artist, dead or alive, would play at your funeral?
Oh God. Well, Barry Manilow.
Oh, okay.
Because I am a Fanilow.
Fanilow, yes.
No, I love his very syrupy music. I love his overdone orchestrations, and I would say that I tend to be melodramatic in that respect, I think, when it comes to my music. So yeah, that would be who I would choose.
Okay, so Barry Manilow, and so and he would play at your funeral. if he's still around.
He's still around. You said dead or alive.
That's true. I did. I was just going to say I did say dead or alive. So yeah.
Boy, talk about the waterworks coming out when he would perform.
Oh, I know. Well, that would be a great choice. That'd be pretty awesome. I can imagine people going, "Oh my God, it's Barry Manilow." Okay, so my next question is, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy
That's
the journey.
Best piece of advice. It's not about reaching the end, but it's about the process of getting there.
I have to agree. I think you know, when you think about like literally traveling, you know, literally, I always think it's more fun, you know, the actual experience of getting to the destination. You get there and you do whatever it is that you're going to, but yeah, I agree. Either literally or figuratively, the journey is probably much more of an experience than actually getting there.
Right, because I think we all say, "Oh, let's hurry up, let's get there, let's get to point B, wherever that is." Whether it's, you know, literal like traveling, or whether it's it's philosophical, like life.
Yeah.
But you miss a lot if you don't enjoy the process of getting there, because
Right.
getting there is an endpoint, and
Right.
it's often short-lived. But um, I'm sorry, getting to point B is an endpoint, and it's often short-lived. But the process of getting there takes a lot longer, and that should be enjoyed as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think yeah, the process is just as important um as the final result. And a lot of times when especially in like in your industry or mine, in music or in media or in the theater, the rehearsal is where you discover everything. And well, for me, a lot of times when, like, for example, if I'm doing a play, whether I'm directing or acting, I think a lot of times by the time the play is ready to be performed, a lot of times what happens is the actors or producers will say, "Oh, I wish the audience can see what we did to get here."
Right.
What process we went through um, to arrive at this moment in the play, and why it's the way it is. And yeah, I often think it would really be cool for people to see that process, like for
Right.
you, for someone to be able to see how you write music, or how you get from, as you're saying, point A to point B, um and where a piece that you're writing starts and where it ends up and how it changes through that whole process. A lot of people don't get to see that.
Right. Right. And it takes a lot. I mean, that's 90% of the time of getting to, like in your scenario, to a play that's being seen. There's a lot of work that goes into
Right.
crafting that play. And it's a really nice, wonderful, creative process that people forget to
Yeah.
enjoy sometimes.
Right. And it's unfortunate that an audience, and again, whether it's music or theater or visual arts or what have you, um the audience doesn't get to come with you on that process. And it would be nice if there was a
Right.
way to for them to see how it all comes together, how it,
Right.
not just the end result.
Right.
Okay, so one more question, and then no more on the spot type stuff.
Okay.
So the last one is, um if you can instantly become one, what would you want to be an expert in?
Oh God. What would I want to be an expert in? Oh man, I've often thought of that question in the terms of time travel. If I were to travel back in time, who would I be to make the most of it?
Oh yeah.
And you know, that's a good question, Jim. I don't know if I have
I
a
know
good
it's kind
answer
of
for
it's
that.
kind of a hard one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, ultimately you want to be who you are. Um, and I'd have to say, okay, the term doctor comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but maybe not in the medical sense, but more in the healer kind of sense.
Oh,
In in
okay.
in in the in the um, in a way of being able to provide knowledge and advice and guidance. Um, because I'm not a spring chicken, but you've learned a lot in life,
Right, right.
and you definitely want to be able to prevent other people from not making the most of it.
Right, right. Well, and I have to say for myself too, I don't know if I could answer this question either, because really what I'd want to, you know, give advice in, um or what I'd want to be an expert in the stuff that I already know. I would
Right.
I would like to be able to, tell somebody about how does theater work? How does radio work? How does, media work? And those are things that I know now, and I wouldn't mind sharing that with somebody who's coming up in those industries maybe. So yeah, I don't know if I could answer that very easily myself, to become an expert in something instantly. It's like I just want to share what I already know.
Right. Now, if you'd asked me, do I, if you went back in time, what would you be? I gave you my
Yeah.
answer, but to
Well,
be
here's
the person I want to be now, I don't know. Other than me,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and how about this question? And a lot of times this question's posed to people is if you can go back to your younger self, what would you tell, you when you were 15 or a teenager or a young adult? What would you tell your younger self about what to expect now?
Right. Don't give up on the music.
Yeah.
The music business is brutal. Um, but my younger self would say just keep doing it. I mean, again, it goes back to enjoy the journey. You
Right.
know, writing, creating is part of the best part of my life, uh,
Hmm.
and not necessarily performing.
Right.
But my younger self took a long time before it said, "Hey, you know what? I write some good music."
Yeah.
And I should have embraced that a lot sooner.
I agree with that for myself as well. I wish I had pursued stuff quicker or yeah, if I can tell my younger self, just get on it, just do it. Even and again, going back to the whole journey idea, it's like um maybe you have good days and bad days. Maybe you write music or somebody creates something like artwork, and maybe it's you have this fabulous day of creativity, and maybe it's not. Maybe you have a day where it's like you barely get the pen going,
Right,
but at least you got the pen going. You know what I
right,
mean? It's like, yeah, don't give up. It's like maybe um, a writer has writer's block or what have you, but at least if you write, it was a dark and stormy night, and that's all you get. At least you've written that much.
right,
and and
exactly.
and don't be discouraged by the fact that maybe you had a bad day with with whatever field you're in,
Right,
whether it's
right. Very
art or
true.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
true.
Well, Esteban, we're just about out of time, but before we go, I just want to get out your information one more time, and then if you have anything else to add as well. Esteban's concert, Esteban Ramirez Romance Tour, will be at Center Stage Theater on September 17th at 7 p.m., and I believe that's a Saturday.
Correct.
Because I could look it up on a calendar, but again, September 17th at 7 p.m. Center Stage Theater. For tickets, you want to call 805-963-0408, 963-0408, or you can also order tickets online at centerstagetheater.org. That's centerstagetheater.org, and theater spelled ER, centerstagetheater.org. And to learn more about Esteban and his work, you can check out his website, descanso-music.com. That's DESCANSO dash music.com to learn more about Esteban and what he's doing and all that good stuff. And before we go, Esteban, anything else that you wanted to put out there as far as the concert or anything, about your music?
Just come on down if you're looking to enjoy some good music. Love to have you there and entertain you for a little bit.
Excellent, excellent. And yeah, we're all looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be a fabulous concert. And again, September 17th, 7 p.m. at Center Stage, and 963-0408 for the tickets. And for me, if you want to learn more about my show, it's called Jim on the Air, and it's available on most platforms, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, just to name a few. Again, it's Jim on the Air. And you can also learn more about it on my website, jimsuriani.com. That's JIMSIRIANNI.com. And thank you, Esteban, for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And we will catch you next time. Bye bye, everybody.